right. Happy Memorial Day. It is the Memorial Day edition of This Fan's View. And we have Carl, John, Lauren, Anthony, and myself. Happy Memorial Day, guys.
Yes,
What do we got?
We have tonight who worked best. Results from number 11 was Jimmy Wowlands in a runaway. So he beat up on Carson Wentz, which I'm sure Lauren's a little happy about. And as she's not in there. And so yeah, it was good. We had a good turnout again. We had over 300 votes for Jimmy Rollins with the poll. So it seems like everybody's liking the poll that we've been doing. We'll get that word out. That'll go up again tonight at 7:30. We'll 7:30, 8 o'clock. We'll get that up tonight. And tonight's game is number 12, which we have been battling here a little bit right before the show, narrowing it down to the final ones. We got for the Phillies, we had decided to go with Matt Stairs. For the Eagles, we have Randall Cunningham. For the Flyers, we have Tim Kerr, and for the Sixers, we have World Be Free.
Yes. World Be Free. Yeah.
Carl's going for a second vote for Sixers players today.
No.
And possibly two back-to-back votes with on Wednesday night. But we have very good competition, I think, this week. I think for tonight, I think it's going to be an interesting one and some lot of conversation to talk about on this one. So we've got who do you have, Mario?
I'm torn, but first I want to congratulate Matt on the birth of his new granddaughter. She's very, very cute. And with that, I'm going to go with Randall Cunningham.
There you go.
I go good, and so.
Okay, Lauren, who do you have there sitting in beautiful Redden Stadium right there?
I think I have to go with Randall Cunningham on this one.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
There you go, Carl.
3.
Can you come back to me?
Sure.
All right, Steve.
Sure, we can do that. I will go with my lookalike Matt Stairs for his you got to good looking guys got to stick together. So
John, up until literally 3 minutes ago, you were going
Yes.
from color. So does that mean you're writing in Matt Stairs?
Well, I mean, we decided to go with Matt Stairs as our choice, So I think, I mean, Tony Taylor's a Wall of Famer, So I think he's just as well deserving. I mean, Randall's I think is going to run away with this one, between him and Tim Kerr. So I got to give my my buddy a vote here. That's why. I got yelled at last time for not sticking up for my Phillies fans. When I went Mo Cheeks, the Hall of Famer, over Darren Dalton.
Since you just answered that like a politician, the question was, 2 minutes ago, you were putting in Tony Taylor. Does that mean you would have written in Matt Stairs as the first write-in, or with somebody different?
Well, us as hosts, we usually don't do write-ins, but I would have gone with Matt.
Okay.
I got him right here up on the wall.
I would have let him write it from one of us.
Yeah. So what we got, Carl?
I got to go Tim Kerr.
There you go.
Tim Kerr, 50 goal scorer, Flyers Hall of Fame, 1994. Just a monster of a player. Love Randall, love Matt, love all you guys, but I got to go Tim Kerr.
Oh yeah, no, I mean it's definitely a good choice as well. Like I said, this one's going to be interesting. I believe it's.
Yeah,
gonna,
I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be a tough call.
Yeah,
but.
So I had to give love to my my lookalike. And my Philly guy, especially with Lauren and Anthony teasing us out there in beautiful baseball town. stadium.
Yeah. So with that, what has everybody been doing today or this weekend?
Working on the house. I rested today. Trying to
Probably needed
get
it.
some honey. Yes. Yeah. Oh yeah. 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 Just doing some odds and ends around the house.
Okay.
So.
Carl, what have you been doing?
A lot of work for me. Work. Staying busy. Just trying to
Any
stay busy and keep my mind occupied with positive things.
So speaking of that, any chance of you opening up soon, or have they not brought that up yet?
Well, what's the yellow targeted date? June 4th, June 5th?
4th is yeah.
So
hopefully
I'll be allowed to let one person in the store every 3 hours. So
Is that what the rules are?
no,
Seriously?
I'm just kidding.
I was gonna
No.
say.
No, it's
Well, I'm
it's
sure it
all-
can be restricted,
it's all
right?
good. It's of course, and rightfully so.
All right.
But it'll be good. Hopefully by July 4th, things will start to get back
Some type of normalcy.
some type.
Mhm.
See, Michael Taylor, you gotta love the hockey guys.
Right.
4-time goal season, he's the clear choice.
Randall was the ultimate weapon.
No doubt.
True.
No doubt. It's a shame he didn't have any weapons. If he'd had some weapons,
Right.
maybe they'd have won something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He was very one-dimensional. Great player. Very good player. But hey, I'm getting a lot of is that a flyover?
It's just something.
Wow.
Well, the airport's about 5 minutes from here.
Yeah.
So
Wow. Okay. That makes sense.
So for everybody that's busting my chops, about the Tim Kerr selection, it's my choice. It's my guy,
That's right.
and
and
it's.
I don't understand
it's-
anybody who would be surprised over that choice.
I'm surprised you didn't pick national players. Is what I'm surprised at.
Right. I mean, the fact that
I
you
did-
even selected anyone else.
Well, I mean, look, hockey's a great sport. Hockey's going to be coming back real soon, and everybody's going to be fired up. So
Yeah.
it's.
I can't see the comments at all. Were they hoping you were going to select Cunningham? Did they think what's the issue? Were they thinking you were going to be free?
I'm not real sure because they're like, Sean's got me, come on, Carl. Joe Stinger's, got his hands up in the air,
Well, I mean, again, how can you go wrong with Tim Kerr? I think
it's because Randall Cunningham is a gigantic name. Like people know that. They're probably
True.
How could you not pick Randall Cunningham? That's what I'm imagining they're saying.
it's
Everyone has their own opinion. That's the whole point of it.
right. Well, that's that. I mean, but also, he is, like you said, 4-time 50-goal scorer. He had 48 goals a year after that. So, I mean, it's 11 years with the Flyers, Wall of Famer for the Flyers. I mean, that's why this competition is so fun and been getting a lot of positive feedback from people that they really enjoy it because it gets you thinking about the different people that have been here in Philly history and and then like I said, you got your fan favorites, you got guys that did wear it best and and it's everybody's opinion who wore it best is on that. So
Steve's going with Stairs only because he gets baseballs all inked up by Matt and he can he can make a huge profit. So that's the only reason he's going with Stairs, and Stairs will even tell you that because I think he cut him off at one point.
So we do have a special guest.
That's enough. Yeah. Well, you want to introduce him, or you just gonna throw
Sure.
his mug up there?
This is Maximus. Say hi, Max.
Okay. You want to explain to the viewers who Max is, and
So
and,
Max
and he's
is
not your child.
no Max is definitely not my child. Max is my niece Nicole's oldest son. We have Roman over here too, but he's a little bit of a mess right now. And God forbid I ever sit down or do anything, Max has to usually be right near me. So he's
There
here.
you go.
Well, this isn't his first time on this fan's view because was he
No.
not? So
Yep.
he's
He was.
he's a returning guest.
Yes, he was live. I think it was with Vince Papale, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
So
So
welcome.
All right,
and
kiddo.
does he have any thoughts on number 12?
what do you want for number 12? He's going to go with Matt Stairs.
There you
I
go.
didn't hear him say that.
Yeah, I
Well,
think that might have been a swayed vote.
Yeah, you definitely just threw that out there. And I don't like this setup because Dolly's not on the board, so I'm not happy.
she's
with
watching. I know
Yeah, I
she's
know.
watching.
that. Well,
She hasn't said hi yet. We're a little hurt.
Yeah,
Mom,
well,
you need to say hi.
my feelings are seriously hurt.
Yours might be hurt more than Steve's are because he says you're killing him. He's not happy.
I always kill him. You kidding me? Wait till we do the Clark private. I'm gonna tell him afterwards how great it was.
God. All right, you want me to get my mom in here?
Well, we already did the Clark yesterday. Didn't he know about that? Oh, sorry.
There we go.
There's
Hi,
Dolly.
Dolly. Welcome to the show.
Too funny. And
So,
Sue's chiming in there that she doesn't see a Lombardi in Randall's history. So
Man, where's she pulling all this football knowledge from?
I don't know.
Her phone.
She's got a little research.
Hey,
Hello,
there's
Dolly.
Dolly. Hello, Dolly.
So who are you going to vote for? Matt Stairs, Randall Cunningham, Tim Carr, and who we got for the Sixers?
World be free.
Free.
We'll be
Way to-
free.
Way to
So
go. Way
The
to
only
go,
one I
Mary.
know is Matt Spears.
okay, she's going Matt
There you
Stairs too.
There you
The
go.
only one I know.
There you go.
Is that okay?
Perfect.
That's good. We liked it.
Perfect.
It's your choice, Dolly. At least you made your own choice.
Well, I think there's an age limit to be able to vote. You have to be able to actually speak the words.
I think that was just you covering up, so you don't get in Matt's doghouse.
I'm always in Matt's doghouse, so it doesn't really matter.
Sue's got no
Well-
phone, so she's not studying.
How did she not have a phone? What's she watching it on?
That's what I was just going to say, but I didn't want to call her
How-
out.
I was going to say, how's she answering if she has no phone?
She's doing it on her work phone or her computer.
Can I have one of them?
A work computer?
Spears would vote for Tim Kerr.
Yeah, he probably would. He probably would.
I can always count on a hockey guy to come through.
Yeah.
So,
Talk
what's
about the
going
hockey.
on out in Reading, Pennsylvania at Baseball Town? What's happening?
A whole lot of nothing.
You're-
It looks like a deserted mall that's been closed for 10 years.
You're looking at it. This is about what's the action we got going on right now. Nothing. It looks beautiful, but not.
Beautiful day. Just
There's not much going on, unfortunately. Nice and quiet.
I can only imagine.
I think it'll be that way for a little bit now.
Not used to that for a summer day.
I think meeting again. Baseball's meeting again on tomorrow. But there's no talk about minor leagues at this point. So I think they're just trying to figure out if they're going to play or, they met about 2 weeks ago. So I guess tomorrow they're going to get together again and see where they're at. But, I haven't really heard anything at all at this point.
Right. Yeah, I seen that they're going to be trying to do a little bit of compromise in here with with everybody as far as going to hopefully the players are going to defer some of the money to help the owners out going into past this year in the future years, so that they might be able to do something, and the owners are trying to do a little bit as well for the the compromise off of the 50-50 split that they were talking about with revenue. So hopefully that's a good sign, and hopefully that means that they're going to get something started, because pretty soon it's going to be too late to be able to start the July 1st or July 4th weekend deadline that they're hoping for. So hopefully, fingers crossed.
Yeah, it's. I mean, they got to do something. They got to literally, get off their hands and make a decision. Do something.
Right.
I personally don't think it's going to happen. They're going to get that, but even if like this year, something so you can either get ready for next year or get ready for this year. Just something would be nice.
How that makes baseball look then if baseball is the only team that can't
I don't think that's necessarily the case.
come to an agreement?
I don't know that that's the case. Everyone's talking about, hey, we're gonna, but until I see
No,
that
I'm
game
just
played, I
saying,
don't
what
think
if
it's gonna happen.
that happens? What if hockey figures it out and basketball figures it out and football figures it out and baseball's kind of the only one? Does that furthermore hurt
That's
an
not
already
gonna-
hurting sport?
It wouldn't help, but I certainly wouldn't. I wouldn't blame baseball on it, but it's not good when the sport's not necessarily growing in the first place. And if it was the only team that didn't play, it wouldn't be good, obviously. But I still just have a hard time believing any of them are going to play at this point. But I hope it would be great
Obviously without fans in general at this point. Baseball seems to be the one having the toughest issues with even adding.
Well, NFL's got time to wait. They can wait as long as they want.
Yep.
And the other two can be played indoor at, sort of the facility. Baseball's a little bit more difficult to sort of figure out. And
Right.
The stadium.
you can't just say everyone's going to be in one location in Florida. That doesn't work. So, I don't know. I think some of the players are having the last thing I read was it's more health concerns. They want to be tested more. Things like that, not necessarily just money related. So it'll be interesting to see what they say tomorrow. Where they're at, because that's all. You've heard where the owners are. You just need to hear what the players respond with tomorrow, and I'm going to go the day and we'll kind of see from there. But what I read, it seems like it's more health related rather than money wise. But who knows? I'm not sure.
Well, and I don't think it helps either that the soccer league, the World Soccer League or whatever, they just had two players tested positive for it. So that's part of the problem. They have a little bit more contact with each other, and that's why I don't, like you were saying, I don't know that hockey and basketball is even going to come back with all that contact that the players are going to have.
That's why it's tough, because I come off like a Debbie Downer, but I'm sort of in the thick of things, and I'm with it every single day, and I hear kind of what's going on for the most part, and the younger people, these guys that are getting baseball players and part of the team, they're also worried about their lives. They don't want to come back and get so. Yeah, I'm sure some of it is about money, but I also think they're also human beings and they don't want to get sick. And, no one really has an answer right now. So they're probably having a really tough time just saying, okay, we'll go back. It's not like a normal year, unfortunately.
So when is hockey and basketball supposed to start up again? Or haven't they decided that yet?
No, nothing's been decided.
Okay.
It's all talk right now. Hockey's probably the closest because they put together a 24-team playoff format, but they still haven't figured out where the games are going to be played. And hockey's there. The NBA is there. I guess yesterday there was talk of down in Florida at Wide World of Sports where they have multiple, floors where you could run 3 games a day. But like Anthony said, until these players are in total agreement with testing and, being safe, we're not there yet. We're not there yet for any of them.
No, and the thing too is like NBA and the NHL, they're already experienced it as far as getting into it and then having the issues of having to shut down the league. I mean, baseball, if they're going to start back up, or what's the chances that they're not going to shut down again? And
I think almost
or not again, but at all.
I think in general we have to sort of take it on two separate levels. You got to sort of spread it apart. So as a fan, you want it to happen You want it to happen like yesterday.
Right.
Look at it like just watching the regular news. State to state that are connected to each other, they can't even figure out who should be open and who shouldn't. So in general, I think it's going to be very difficult for anyone to get anything rolling. Everyone can have a plan, and every league should have a plan. So the day that they can, they will. But they also need to be realistic that there's also a chance that you might not be able to this year. Just because if states themselves amongst each other can't figure it out, how are you going to figure out a league that has, all the states involved? So,
right.
It's just scary. Like, what if one of these places that just did open and then you're fully open, New Jersey Shore's open, everything's open. What if in the next 2 weeks, and it's right about time that the guys are about to come back, let's pretend, there's a big talks of people getting sick. I mean, it's just, as a fan, just sort of put it over here and say, yes, we'd like to play, but in reality, is that doable? And of course, the people that are outspoken, the players that are outspoken make more money. You know what I mean? They're sort of the faces of the league, the Bryce Harpers and those type of guys. And,
Bring it in.
they're sick. I mean, I think that's a portion of it. They really don't want to get sick.
Right.
Earlier today when we were driving on one of the sports radio shows, they brought up a good point is some of these guys, their visas are going to run out soon. And so we sort of need to figure out what's happening soon because some of the guys on the basketball teams, they're back in their home countries. And, by the time they decide what's happening, their visa could be expired because they didn't anticipate needing a visa in basketball in August. So, you've got another situation now that you've got to figure out that doesn't have anything to do with testing or facilities or any of that, but just the legality of it pretty much.
Well, yeah, it's also in all sports. They were talking about basketball, but the same
You've got all these minor league guys.
Yeah, you got all these minor league guys in different countries. What if one of those countries there's a big flare up, and then whatever big player that's from the Dominican Republic or whatever country he's from is not able to return. I mean,
but even when they do return, then they have to quarantine for 2 weeks, and so you have to factor that in for the start time. But you don't even know when to tell the guy to come back because you don't want to tell him to come back too early. And now he leaves his family, quarantines for 2 weeks, and then, baseball still hasn't started.
Yeah, I think it's way more difficult than people are making it to be. As a fan, you want it to happen yesterday, but I think it's very, complicated. Like us in our daily lives can't figure out, I just want to get my hair cut, little things like that. So it's great. All right,
because they don't know all the ins and outs and everything that goes on behind the scenes.
Sure.
So
much work.
Yeah, I mean, just look. You got half of Pennsylvania is open in yellow, and down here it's in red still. So even within the state itself, you have two teams, Pittsburgh and Philadelphia. Who they can practice if they wanted to, I guess.
What's preventing one of us or any of us from driving from a red county to a green county? You could have it. You have no idea.
That 100% happen.
Right.
Now you're to a county that had, 5 total cases.
Right.
I mean, yeah. So, like, for example, Pittsburgh is in yellow right now, but by June 5th, they're probably going to be one of the counties that go to green, which doesn't mean everything's back to normal. You still have to wear masks and all that stuff, but you can sort of get back to normal. Well, obviously, when that happens, I'm going to want to go on a trip somewhere, but I'm in a county currently that's red. You know what I mean? So you see with the beaches, you see with all that stuff that people are so eager to get out of the house because they've been inside for so long. But, we have to be careful because even when everything's green, you still might want to give it a few more weeks to make sure not everyone's not getting sick. You know, especially when you have stadiums with, even if there's no fans there. The article I read, usually each game, you know, takes about 50 people to make each game possible, from the reporter staff to all that stuff. I mean, it's difficult. I hope they get there, but you know, as the days go by, it seems less and less likely.
Yeah.
So we're almost at 7 o'clock. We got a lot of people, you know, jumping on board for this holiday extravaganza that we got going here. Couple of guys. Anthony, you got a question about pro wrestling?
I can't see the question.
So Ryan.
Yeah, no. Yeah, Ryan Hennigan wants to know.
Go ahead.
How is pro wrestling able to keep going through this?
Yeah, well,
so I guess
you are our wrestling guru.
They're in a unique, only for the most part, you know, like the WWE that you see on, they have a facility that they own, where they usually like train the guys. That's where like their minor league guys would be normally.
Right.
They could
Sure.
have all their wrestling shows there. I don't know if it's a big campus where people live or if they're just tested every day going in and out.
Sure.
But they have their own facility. And you know,
Does Vince McMahon, for sake of a better term, have them by the you-know-what for all this?
Vince McMahon definitely does. I mean, those guys have no choice but to wrestle and make their money. And you know,
if I learn anything from Dark Side of the Ring, these guys have no say in anything.
Yeah,
Whatever Vince McMahon says goes.
if they don't wrestle because they say, I don't want to wrestle because of the quarantine, well, then their jobs are gone and
Right. Then we'll find somebody else.
right, which is, you know, the mentality in a lot of different things. You know, we'll find someone else if you don't want to do it. So they have no choice but to do it. But, you know, obviously, if anything ever happened, that would be a disaster and big news.
Yeah, but my question would be, how are they able to have people continue to go and do this when other businesses are made to be shut down and not have anybody in the office?
They were deemed by the governor of Florida, you know, not to get into anything political, but they were deemed by the governor of Florida as an essential business, which obviously a lot of people think, if I can't get my hair cut, why is wrestling a essential business? But they were deemed an essential business by the governor of Florida. So that's the reason that they're allowed to do all that. I think that's where the UFC was held in Florida, and most of the events in the sports world that, you know, they plan to hold are going to be in Florida at this point, just because the restrictions there. But that's the reason they can. But
Do the wrestlers get tested every morning, like before a match or something?
I would hope so. I mean, it says you need to be tested for 14 days in a row.
Right.
So I'm hoping those
Those guys are like obviously on top of each other.
I guess the question is, I don't think they would, but do the guys actually live there? Like, is it like minor league baseball where are rooms the guys can actually stay in? I don't know if that's the case, or if they do. And you know, if that's the case, then their wives or their children and all of those people associated have to be tested. I don't.
My guess is that either Vince McMahon paid the governor off, or they have a facility there to keep all their families and everybody there, so they don't actually have to go outside the facility. I don't know.
Well, and Vince's wife Linda has run for governor in Connecticut like 2 or 3 times, and she's on Donald Trump's team or whatever it is. So I'm not saying that means anything, but I'm sure that doesn't hurt. And the governor of Florida really does like the president very much, so I'm sure all that stuff doesn't hurt.
So also, Larry says that the governor of Florida is a big wrestling fan.
Well, that doesn't hurt either.
Well, I'm going to throw my 2 cents in. How about all these guys that are all roided up? I mean, that's not legal in any other sport.
Well,
it's not a sport. It's sports entertainment.
Yeah, and I think over the last couple of years, they've at least on the surface said, they've had a testing procedures. I can't speak back in the day because obviously they didn't do any of that stuff. But now they're supposed to have procedures and guidelines, and their whole big campaign now is anti-bullying, and whether it's real or for show, I'm not sure, but that's at least what their television face says. They're into all that stuff. So
all right, so we're on a roll with questions, and probably the most prominent on the board. How are the Flyers going to have a parade when they win the cup?
Well, let's not put the cart before the horse.
You just got to do a virtual walk or
Right.
So
Like the graduation.
yes.
Well, you just have
They-
like 6 people on each block.
They can have a parade, just nobody can go to it.
Well, that's what's going to stink for any sport. You know, if
Right.
Right.
if anyone that wins, and especially if you haven't won in a long time and you win, that would stink.
And
Yeah.
you know, also, are people always going to give them full credit for winning based on the conditions at hand? Because if you don't have fans, that certainly factors in. If you're playing at the same arena, you're learning kind of the ins and outs of it. And so, what does that say for the teams who actually do end up winning? You know, as a asterisk type things again.
Well, possibly for the like I heard some other people say, every other team is going to have the asterisk except for the team you're rooting for. So when the Flyers do it, it won't be an asterisk next to it. But
I think it's going to be for every sport. They're going to have every sport's going to have an asterisk next to it this year.
God forbid your team loses to like its biggest rival or something, and then of course you're. It was
you trying to get that Penguin comment in there? Is that what you're trying to slide it in there for our second round?
I didn't even think about that, to be honest with you.
Oh yeah, come on. We know you better
I
than
don't follow as much.
Well,
He's not much of a hockey fan, so that's how I can get around this
I used
pretty
to
well.
be younger. When I lived in Pittsburgh, it was easy because you could, you were right there. And now I'm really busy in the fall and the summertime, so I don't really have as much time. So,
well, talking about that, how do you think the hockey playoffs scenario sounds with the Flyers potentially having a bye in the first round, which they'll play like some scrimmage games with some other teams just to keep their legs?
can you explain? I guess so. I saw it was like a 24-team playoff, but I don't understand how it works exactly.
So it's going to be 12 teams in each conference, and then.
So are they done playing the regular season now? We're just taking the top 12 teams and we're just saying, see you later, regular season, on to the playoffs to get this over with?
That's the way it sounded, yes.
Okay.
And what are the early rounds? How many games did each team play each other?
That was back and forth. There was like 5 games and possibly 7.
Yeah, nothing's been finalized yet.
So what happens if you're one of those teams that was right on the cusp of making the playoffs, but you still needed those extra games that were left of the regular season, so you just screwed the pooch on that one?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, it's some of that's even a more of an issue with basketball, because basketball they haven't, and probably hockey's the same way. All teams haven't played the same amount of games, so that makes it a little bit difficult as well to say, how many points you got.
That's why whoever ends up winning or however it ends up being decided, it almost you won, but didn't win the way the game was intended to be played.
Right, and that's probably also another reason why baseball is trying to, have an issue with it, because they don't want to get started, because now you're going to have the American League and the National League playing in the same division. Everybody's playing in DH rules, and less travel, so you're only playing the East teams, and so that's what's making it difficult. Playing less games. Probably going to be 82 games, maybe even less than that. So that makes it hard as well to keep the integrity of the game, as well as,
On that point, John, is there actually any integrity to any of this?
Probably not. I mean, a lot of it's just, the TV contracts are running a lot of the things, mostly.
The only reason it's being done is just to get the TV contracts paid off.
Well, that and plus a little bit, but then also, we need sports in our lives, for the morale of people.
I think people will definitely complain, especially if their team loses, especially if their team's like a number 1 seed and they end up losing because of this. But I will say that I don't think that's fair. I mean, more than anyone, it's not their fault that these are the rules. It's not their fault that this happened. So I hope the public would consider it a real championship. It's not like, we're just going to crown whoever's in first place right now the champion. You still have to win.
Correct.
I hope people would consider it real. I mean, for those guys, it's real.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, here in Philadelphia for the Flyers, they were hot right now. Going into the playoffs, it would have been nice to see them take that momentum into the playoffs, and this layoff's going to hurt them a little bit, I think, and also having the bye for the first round of the playoffs is going to hurt a little bit, even though they're going to play some scrimmage games, but you're not playing that intense games that you're playing, and then we'd have to play a team like Pittsburgh in the second round, most likely, after playing, Pittsburgh playing a tough matchup themselves. So like they're going to be into that grind more than the Flyers would be, or any of the four teams that are in the division that are getting that bye. So, yeah, I think it's a little tough.
I do think everyone is nervous for the most part. I mean, I did have on like the Pittsburgh Sports Radio the other day, and they were actually nervous, playing the Canadians in a short series.
Right.
I mean, it's not like anyone thinks like, hey, now we have this wrapped up like this. I think they're just as nervous because if someone has a good game or two, then the whole thing could be over. So I think it's kind of scary for everyone, but.
Right.
And is the format for hockey, is it in a certain facilities? Is it all venues? Like, obviously the NBA is talking about Florida, so is the NHL talking about a specific area?
I don't think so. I don't think they've gotten that far with the hockey as far as any, like, it's going to be in, Toronto or wherever, they'll be able to do it.
We were talking about this the other night, and Carl can probably speak on that, but basketball is easy as long as you have a bunch of courts next to each other somewhat.
Right.
Do you have, to have those playoffs, how do you have that many hockey arenas readily available?
And that many baseball stadiums, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could have it. The nice thing about baseball is at least it's minor league facilities that they're sort of near each other. If you say, hey, you're not going to be at your home arena because no one's allowed in it anyway, you could play at the minor league camps and they're at least near each other. But for hockey, I mean, there's not like a minor league location where everyone's at.
Right.
So I don't know what you do.
Well, if you think about this, say they play down in Florida, you have Spectrum Field that has that field and then 4 fields behind it. You could technically have 5 games in one day.
Yeah, but those 4 fields behind it, which was the question I was going to ask Anthony, was, these minor league fields, this isn't the same as Citizens Bank Park. So how does that sort of change for the major league guys? How does that change for Bryce Harper to play for Citizens Bank Park?
There's most likely not going to be any fans. So the dimensions here or the dimensions in Philadelphia aren't that different.
Right. I mean, I see 330 on the wall out there.
Yeah, but I mean, these are the general. What we have here is the general dimensions of the baseball stadium. So it's not like if you played in Lakewood that the dimensions are so much smaller than Philadelphia. It's a smaller venue, but there's no one there anyway, which shouldn't really affect Bryce Harper.
The field itself, the infield, the outfield, that's
and
relatively the same.
Yeah, and whatever facility they pick, I'm sure. Say they said it's going to be at a minor league facility, which.
There was an article that came out earlier this week about Allentown and Reading being locations for these guys if Pennsylvania got approved to have baseball.
I think that was just that person making it theoretical, just because Allentown and Reading are only an hour from Philadelphia. But I mean, if Philadelphia is open and ready to play, I don't know why they wouldn't just practice there. I mean, or
it's just not enough room for all the guys. All these minor league guys.
But everyone's going to have that issue.
Right.
And other than the Philadelphia team, not everyone's, major league facility. If the Pirates got Indianapolis, that's not very close to Pittsburgh. So, I think, that's the bigger thing of where I think this might be going in the future is that every team maybe have their teams closer. Not only does it help the fan base to build up your fans in that part of the state, but it also helps for the major league team to have the guys readily available to call up. Now, that's obviously easier said than done. Philadelphia did it very smart and early and have 3 of their 4 teams, within an hour away.
Not the furthest one from them.
The Phillies?
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't count Clearwater, it would be
Williamsport.
Williamsport. But
most minor leagues aren't in the same state.
No, I mean, like, just the ones I could think. Like, the Pirates have Indianapolis. They do have Altoona, but then the other team is in Greensboro.
But aren't the Richmond Flying Squirrels, aren't they an affiliate of the Giants?
Yeah, that's across the country.
Right.
So,
Yeah. And like you were saying too, the other issue for minor league ballparks and even some of the major league ballparks is the clubhouses. You know, you're not being able to keep lockers 6 feet apart. You know, even in Citizens Bank Park, you're not even going to be able to do that to keep lockers separated for the players. You know, especially you go to like a team like Boston and play up in Fenway Park. You know, you're right on top of each other. Just kind of.
if we get to that point, we're actually playing. Yeah, and these are at the smaller level, right? Like,
Right.
how's the reporter going to stand? You know, the game-winning home run, and there's no fans there, so there's not like a huge crowd. The reporters essentially need to capture that and ask those questions. Well, the reporters potentially can't even get close. So these are the things at even the smaller level where it's going to make a lot of this stuff, you know, just a lot different than you've ever seen before.
Right. Actually, I think they were even saying that probably they won't even have reporters.
Yeah, I mean,
in there.
maybe, you know, maybe those guys wear headsets after the point, and the reporters up in the press box, so you can just ask the questions downstairs.
Hmm.
They can do all that through closed circuit TV.
Yeah,
Look
yeah.
at how they did it yesterday. I mean, you know, just
It'll be like
switching
that.
gears briefly, you know, they were able to interview Peyton Manning and Tom Brady through an earpiece, and the reporter in a golf cart well over 6 feet away, and you know, they just chatted that way. I mean, obviously when it started raining, you immediately had an issue because Peyton Manning's earpiece went out. But I mean, they were able to figure it out, but obviously you're talking about a golf course where you have so much more space with something like that. But couldn't the guys just be interviewed out on the field afterwards?
Yeah. You know, when you see the local news, they have one of those long sticks to, you know, put the microphone on.
But that's not even 6 feet.
Well, I mean, think about when they do the interviews with the people in the dugout from up in the booth. They can do it that way too. That's really not much different.
Right.
I hope whatever they come up
We got to get to that point first. We got to start playing.
Right.
You know what I mean? We need to get
I
back
hope
on the field.
whatever they come up with, in general, I don't care what they have to do for this year. Do whatever you have to do. I just hope to, when we get to the point of a new year for next year, and I know they said, you know, life's going to be different. I hope that, especially in baseball, where it's outside, guys are spitting, high-fiving, you know, all those sounds that you hear associated with baseball. I just hope that all that stuff doesn't have to change too much. You know, this year you can do whatever you want, do whatever you need to do.
Well, once there's a
But-
vaccine, wouldn't all of that pretty much be considered okay?
I sure hope so.
Right.
Right.
You know, especially at the minor league level, you know, it's a small facility. So, you know, it's a business, you know, obviously more than anything. So you don't want to have it where it's only every other row or 15% capacity. I mean, you can maybe do that at a big stadium because they're making a lot more money. But at this, you know, level that we're at, you know, where you have 5,000 seats, 9,000 seats, 15,000 seats, whatever you have, I mean, you need
every person.
you need every person you can be here. You need them to be buying food and drink, and you need to make sure that you have nice weather. And, you know, you can't control some of those, but if we can't control how many people are allowed in, it makes it tough as obviously a business owner to conduct business.
Yeah.
So I just hope that
John
after
O'Brien,
it does
can
go back
we,
to normal.
I didn't mean to interrupt you, Anthony, but before the show gets away from us, can we go back over our number 12s? Because we've got a lot of people back on with us tonight, and you know, throw the names out there in the 24 hours that they have to vote.
Yes.
So why don't you go over that?
Well, we're going to have the poll up there tonight, probably by 8:00, depending on once Lauren gets home, and we will go until tomorrow at 7:30. For the Phillies this time around, for number 12, we have Matt Stairs. The Eagles, we have Randall Cunningham. For the Flyers, we have Tim Kerr, and World Be Free for the Sixers. So we got you know, a lot of interesting votes going on there.
So did
know.
all you guys watch the match yesterday?
Yes,
I did.
Nope.
Yes.
that was very good. That was very cool.
Yeah.
Who won?
That was definitely the most entertaining thing I've seen since this whole thing started.
It was
Tiger Woods and Peyton Manning won.
Yeah. Yeah. Which, I mean, was there even a question?
They had Phil Mickelson. It's not like he's some schlub.
Yeah, I know, but I don't know.
He choked.
I think Tiger Woods is the better golfer of the two.
Oh,
That's
absolutely.
a conversation for a whole nother day.
Well, I didn't care what happened in golf in general. I just liked their banter. It was fun.
Yeah, Charles Barkley made.
Yes.
I mean, he was hilarious. But I liked seeing, Tom Brady in sort of like a more casual atmosphere. Obviously, his comments about the Eagles, that he's terrorized by the Eagles, not the Falcons. Peyton Manning's comment about getting Nick Foles to caddy for him. I mean, all that stuff was just fun.
Well, and it was also good to see the competitive juices with the players too, and how they were able to step up, and how, like you were saying, Charles Barkley was busting Tom Brady's chops because he was playing bad in the first 8 holes, and then he gets, he's yelling, he's telling him, he's calling him out, and he's going to play him, and he's going to give him strokes, and then the next shot, Brady from 150 yards out sinks it in the hole, and tells him to suck it, stuck on that one, and and then on top of that, even on that same hole, that was to get the hopefully for the win for that, and Tiger Woods is on the par 5 there in the front of the green there on 2, and almost sinks like a 40 or 50 yard or 50-foot putt, and Brady was was going to strangle him if that happened. How competitive they were, and just to see Tiger Woods step up and almost make that putt just to not be shown up on that hole by Brady was pretty cool to see the competitiveness in there.
That stuff's good for Tom Brady too. So many people that aren't from New England probably don't care for him, but to see that normalness from him,
right.
You know what I mean? That's good, because you can see him after he's done playing in a couple of years be like a Michael Strahan type guy where he's on a morning show or whatever. I mean, he seems like he can do that.
You get to see a little bit of his personality.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't seem like such a
robot.
not like a football player. You got to see a little bit of him.
Yeah, and it was also cool to see Peyton Manning being as jovial as he was.
Yeah.
Making a lot of comments, and
not to mention it was pouring at one point.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, for those guys to just stick it out and keep doing it, it was really coming down at one point.
Yeah, and I've raised $20 million for the COVID relief. That was pretty cool. And it was just that, and in here, and like Charles Barkley, trying to get in Brady's head with the par 3s there, and said if he hits the green, he'll give him $50,000 towards the charity, and then Brady misses the shot, and he goes, "Well, you just saved yourself $50,000, Chuck." It was just the fun back and forth with each other, and then Russell Wilson coming in with the what was it, Meals on Wheels, or
100,000 meals, and it ended up being
300.
Yeah, that was
fantastic. Yeah, because he said if anybody gets it 12 feet, within 12 feet of the pin, and the first three of them nailed it, and of course the one person that doesn't do it is Tiger Woods. That you would have thought would have, and Peyton Manning almost had, he was 18 inches away from a hole in one for $25 million. That would have been cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
So other than NASCAR, is there events like this scheduled, or they just come up as needed? You know what I mean?
Yeah. How far in advance was this scheduled
I had no
out?
idea.
Because I didn't really know about it until, honestly, yesterday morning.
It's been out there for a little while. Exactly how long, I don't know, but it's been out there for a little bit.
Right.
I think they were talking about this long before this, this situation hit.
It
they
probably
wanted
was.
or something else.
to do something, for charity.
Right.
Obviously none of those 4 guys need the money. So,
Sure.
but
So is NASCAR the only thing that's really, as far as in a routine, is that the only sport that's going on right now?
Well, they mentioned golf yesterday is coming back next weekend or something, right?
I don't remember hearing that. No.
A tournament starts the first weekend in June or something, to some kind of real.
I know they have some stuff coming up, but I don't know how quickly their schedule's going to start to play. The NASCAR is the biggest right now.
Right.
And kudos to them. I mean,
Yeah.
they had a tribute last night and everything, where they pulled the cars off the track, paid tribute to all of our, soldiers and just phenomenal, just a phenomenal through all of this. And they're still able to pull off, the support and have these guys pay tribute to America, basically.
Yeah, I think at least in the United States, Anthony, to answer your question too, is I think it's only once, other than the cornhole contest that's going on. 'Cause they're wearing the mask.
That one's great.
Yeah, no, that's pretty interesting to see them play, but you can only do that for a little bit. But yeah, I think you got the Korean baseball and soccer is playing as well, but not
Right.
Here within the United States. But
Right.
yeah, I just don't see too much coming right soon in the United
Horse
States.
racing, Belmont Stakes. I think they're going to try to get the horses on the track next.
But no
you know.
jockeys, I think, right?
Could you imagine?
They're going to put our dumb asses on the horses.
That's in June, right?
Yeah, June.
It's coming up.
June.
Yep, for sure.
All
Did
right.
they reschedule the Kentucky Derby?
September.
They flip flop the format. It's not.
Max, don't touch anything here.
It's not in the Who's getting hollered at, Mario? Somebody getting hollered at?
Max is getting yelled at.
Oh,
Yeah.
Not me.
Well, your name's Mario, not Max.
Yeah.
Yeah, depends. If you're an Italian family, they have to go through everybody's name before they get to yours.
Hey, speaking of Italian, is it a ritual that you eat spaghetti on Memorial Day? Is that a thing for Italian families?
No, I had made a lot of pasta fazool, and I gave most of it to Lisa and Nicole. So they've been eating it for the last couple weeks. So
You make that
that's what. Yeah, I did.
What's that, John?
We missed that delivery.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah.
So it was my very first time making it. They were the guinea pigs.
Here we go, John. Here we go.
Fair, Max.
Yeah. Small violins, please. Small violins. So
Yeah.
what's planned out in baseball town the rest of the night? What are you guys doing? You got plans?
we are hopefully going to go play miniature golf after this and get some ice cream.
Very cool.
So a miniature golf course is open up there?
Mhm.
Yep.
They have food, so they can be open.
Yep.
Is that the one that we played, Lauren?
Yeah.
Okay. That's a
It is
good one.
27 holes, which is so grueling to get to like
Yeah.
15.
Yeah.
But I'm sure by the time we get there, it won't be too crowded.
Yeah. Very nice. Very cool.
But before you do, you'll have to on the scoreboard play the fireworks or something.
Yep.
Is it a very competitive thing with you two?
No, not really. I tend to do better with these types of things.
I choke at
And
that.
then he gets really mad.
I choke.
Like the other day, the Fightins on Facebook put up a puzzle to put Screwball together. And it took Anthony 3 minutes and some seconds
And I
or
thought
something.
that was quick.
And he was very proud of himself. So he's like, try and see how quick you can do it. I think I did it in a minute, and then we no longer spoke of said puzzle. So, so yeah, that's kind of how these things tend to go. Checker.
You are very competitive. Very competitive.
So, and then then I just feel bad. So
I'm good at Connect Four.
you're good at Connect Four. Well, at Dave and Buster's, we played basketball Connect Four. That was crazy.
The
So,
whole
yeah.
the whole thing's just a shame. I mean, could you imagine before this? He said, "Hey, you have the entire summer off potentially, off of games, but you're also not allowed to do anything. You can't go anywhere or do anything. I mean, it's horrendous. The whole thing.
Yep. Absolutely.
So Lauren, how long do you feel sorry
I'm sorry, only
Honestly.
then he's not in a great mood, and then
Then I just get ice cream after. Then I'm okay.
yeah, then I have to get him. And then he's fine.
There you go. That's all good.
So Joe Stinger's open, hoping that Rita's is open. I guess he's wanting a Rita's water ice. So yes, Joe, they are open.
Yeah,
They
they're
are open.
Yep.
Yep. The Putt Putt in Clifton Heights is opening next week.
I didn't even know they were open, period.
Mario, how often do you come out of the house?
How often do I go to Putt Putt?
How often do you come out of the house? Is the
Oh,
question.
I come out of the house.
Come on.
I have no
seriously.
reason to go to Putt Putt. Come on.
You don't drive past Clifton.
Yeah, it's all the way in the back. I can't tell if it's open or not.
Is the Rita's curbside pickup too?
No.
No,
Nope, you have to wait in line.
no. So my cousins own 2 Ritas, one in Westchester and one in Broomall. And so my cousin John, who owns both of them, put up plexiglass, and then they have lines where you got to stay 6 feet apart, stuff like that. But they've been open since. So
Yeah, there's a line out to Eagle Road in Havertown, so they're doing very well. So
Yep.
Absolutely. But hey, here we are. We killed another hour.
Yes, we did.
Lauren, you want to do takeaways?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. John, what do you got for us?
What I'm going to, let's take a moment to thank everybody, the military, and who's served, and for that's what this day's about. It's that have served for us, given their life for us, to have our freedoms, even though we feel bad for ourselves right now, being inside a little bit. But let's face it, there's a lot more things important in the world. So we got to do what we have to do to make it as good as we can. But we got to thank everybody from the military.
Just to go off of that, John, real quick, I think it's somewhat amusing / coincidental that something like this pandemic would be happening as Memorial Day is happening, because servicemen and women make sacrifices for much longer than 2 months.
Right.
yep.
Huge things to not be able to go out to dinner, not be able to drink a beer at a bar somewhere, not be able to go to a baseball game, and you don't hear them bitch, moan, or complain once.
No.
And they're deployed for 9 months, year and a half, 2 years, without their families, and here we all are, grumpy because we can't go out to eat somewhere. So
Right. And then they come back, and then they decide to volunteer again to go back out again.
right.
So yeah, it's you put things in perspective. That's for sure.
Yeah. Mario?
So I will feed off of what John said, and yeah, I mean, we're going through a lot, but they've gone through a lot more. So God bless them. God bless their families. Larry said we should have a moment of silence. So moment of silence for them. Just I hope everybody's doing well, and hopefully being able to see their families, even if it's limited time. But so happy Memorial Day to everybody.
Dad?
You guys pretty much summed it all up. I'm going to go off course with this a little bit because I think part of our life, and this just isn't people that are into sports, but sports is such a big part of people's lives. I think somebody just mentioned this is the first Memorial Day in 140 years that we haven't had baseball. That's pretty remarkable when you stop and think about something like that. And, there's nothing, there's no more tributes than, flags, spread out for football games and moment of silence, especially after 9/11. We need sports back in our lives because it's so important. It's important for a lot of reasons. it brings in a lot of money. It does a lot of good for people. So we need to get this thing figured out quick. We need to get back back up and running. So prayers to everybody. Let's get this done fast.
And
Well, sitting out here, it's nice and it's good. It makes you realize that everyone, even if you're at home, obviously, even if you're not going out to like a baseball stadium or whatever you can go to, just make sure you still get outside in your house or in your apartment. It's dark. It can get depressing after a while. Make sure you get outside, and whether it's a walk or a run or take the dog out or whatever the heck that you do, just make sure you do it. Because, once you walk outside and see that, life is still important and meaningful and all that stuff, it's good for your mental state. So make sure everyone is doing that stuff and getting outside and being positive.
Yep. Yeah, in agreement with everybody. But I also wanted to remind everyone that we are doing a Memorial Day giveaway on the This Fans View Facebook page. It's pinned at the very top. You have until Wednesday to go there and like and share it for a chance to win the Ultimate Kids Prize Pack. So even if you aren't a kid, you act like a kid or a kid, so everybody can win. So just go on there and like and share it before Wednesday, and we'll announce a winner during Wednesday's show.
Good job. Good job.
All right. And
We're all
with that, we'll be back on Wednesday.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Thanks,
So
guys.
we'll be back Wednesday. Everybody have a good rest of their day and good week, and we'll see you Wednesday.
For dessert, Mario.
So Mr. Softy just came, so we're gonna have that.
Nice.
Okay. All right.
So
All right. Peace out.
got it. Enjoy. All right.
All right. See you guys.
See ya.
See you guys.